After 17 years of X-Men movies, it's about damn time that we got some New Mutants in Fox's corner of the Marvel Universe. Specifically, the New Mutants. The fan-favorite X-Team is finally getting a solo film of their very own, starring Game of Thrones' Maisie Williams and The Witch's Anya Taylor-Joy. And it sounds like exactly what the X-verse needs right now. But who are the New Mutants? Why should you care about them? How do they fit into X-Men lore? Well, today on the Dan Cave, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about the New Mutants. Bubba Sparks may have found Ms. New Booty, but a generation of comic book readers found Marvel's New Mutants to be exactly what they needed when they made their auspicious debut in 1982's Marvel graphic novel number 4. Jeez, what a title. Created by Chris Claremont and Bob McLeod, New Mutants was the first of several spin-offs intended to capitalize on the massive popularity of the Uncanny X-Men. The New Mutants were assembled during a particularly dark period in X-Men history. Professor X was spiraling into depression following the death of Thunderbird during a mission, and Phoenix committing suicide on the moon after murdering billions of people in another galaxy. For more on that last one, check out my Dark Phoenix Saga explainer. The icing on the clinically depressive cake, though, was an attack by the parasitic alien race known as the Brood, which seemingly killed the rest of the X-Men. And in the wake of that event, Charles swore off molding gifted and talented mutant youths into the X-Men of tomorrow today. Well, that is until his BFF/occasional hot tub lover, Moira McTaggart, convinced him to reopen his school because of two new mutants that were in dire need of assistance. The first was Shen Khoi Man, aka Karma, a Vietnamese immigrant who escaped the war, is able to psychically possess people, and was referred personally by Mr. Fantastic himself. The second was Rain Sinclair, aka Wolfsbane, a red-headed Scottish orphan that can transform into a red wolf, and was raised in a church that not only taught her to feel intense guilt and shame at all times, but made her believe her mutation was a sign of satanic possession. They tried to perform an exorcism on her, which it turns out is not at all relaxing for a young woman whose body's changing in unexpected ways. Are you there, God? It's me, a friggin' mutant. Thankfully, Moira McTaggart was there to keep Rain safe and took her to Xavier's school so she could be properly trained instead of burned at the stake. Shortly thereafter, old Chucky Boy received a letter from Black Eagle, a Native American man whose granddaughter, Danielle Moonstar, was apparently beginning to display mutant powers of her own and needed someone's guidance. Codenamed Psyche at first and later Mirage, Dani is able to create illusions based on her target's deepest, darkest fears or their greatest desires. Kind of like the Mirror of Erised from Harry Potter, but a person. Now, unfortunately, Charles wasn't the only one who heard about this powerful mutant. Donald Pierce, the Hellfire Club's White Bishop, heard about her as well, because he was recruiting young mutants to seize control of the Hellfire Club from Sebastian Shaw, you know, Kevin Bacon, and Dani was in his crosshairs. While Xavier and his two new recruits managed to get Dani to join them, it wasn't a time for celebration just yet, because Pierce got to Black Eagle first and murdered him to death. And to make matters worse, yes, worse than murdering someone to death, they learned that Pierce was targeting two other young mutants, one in Kentucky and one in Brazil. So they made like the Scooby Gang and split up. Zoinks, gang, let's go find these mutants. Karma, Moira, and Dani went down to Brazil to track down Roberto da Costa, better known as Sunspot, a mutant who gained super strength from absorbing solar energy. However, Pierce was there too and kidnapped Sunspot's girlfriend in an effort to lure them all into a trap and, murder them. In the ensuing fight, Sunspot's girlfriend died by taking a bullet meant for her boyfriend. Heartbroken and filled with a burning desire for revenge, Sunspot agreed to join the team, which I'm sure is a real healthy reason to do anything. While this was happening in Brazil, Professor X and Rain took a road trip down to Kentucky to try and find the fifth mutant they'd heard about. Unfortunately for them, that mutant, a fiery Kentucky teen named Samuel Guthrie, ambushed them using his ability. His ability is the power to rocket himself through the air at a high speed, generating a force field around his body, rendering himself impervious to harm, which makes sense once you realize his name is Cannonball. Anyway, Samwise Guthrie was sadly already working for Donald Pierce and managed to kidnap Xavier while Rain escaped in her wolf form, tracking them back to Pierce's lair. What followed was an epic showdown at Pierce's evil headquarters where Wolfsbane was joined by Karma, Dani, Sunspot, and Moira, and they proceeded to kick ass and take names! Just kidding, they got their butts handed to them pretty quickly, and Pierce ordered Cannonball to kill them, but he refused because teens. Shortly thereafter, Professor X broke free and took out Pierce without killing him, the Charles Xavier way. They left Cannonball to think about what he did, and a few days later, he showed up in New York, and the first iteration of the New Mutants was officially born. Now, the team would grow to include several other iconic members over time. Illyana Rasputin, aka Magic, Colossus's younger sister who can teleport through time and space, was trained in actual magic by an alternate reality Storm and a Demon Lord, and uses a sword forged from part of her own soul, which is pretty awesome. There's also Warlock, an alien from a techno-organic race called the Technarchy, who can turn his body into any shape imaginable as well as absorb energy from different objects and life forms. And last but not least, there's Cypher, a brilliant young mutant who can understand and speak any language he came across, which came in handy when he met Warlock. You get it? You see how it works. Anyway, over the years, the New Mutants had their hands full with the likes of the Hellions, a rival group of young mutants being trained by the Hellfire Club. They fought Deadpool during his very first appearance in the Marvel Universe. They've been led by the likes of Professor X, Magneto, Cable, and many members even went on to become full-fledged members of the X-Men and the X-Force. However, their greatest challenge of all is one they're almost undoubtedly going to see in the feature film adaptation in 2018, the Demon Bear. You know, that old chestnut. It's pretty much exactly what it sounds like, Chestnut. It was a demonic bear that murdered Danny Moonstar's parents and was stalking her and the New Mutants, possessing people around them in an effort to murder them as well. Basically, it's this incredibly creepy story arc about an evil entity that feeds on negative emotions and keeps on coming after you and your loved ones. Coincidentally, that was the exact plot of those old Coca-Cola commercials with the polar bear before they realized, hey, we're selling soda. Why is there so much murder? And that, dear reader, is everything you need to know about the New Mutants. But tell me, what's your favorite New Mutant story? What do you hope to see in the movie? Who should join Maisie Williams and Anya Taylor-Joy as Wolfsbane and Magic, respectively? Let me know in the comments below and give me a newly mutated thumbs up while you're there. Now be sure to like and subscribe or else you might miss next week's show about the story of a geeky teen who gets bitten by both a radioactive spider and a sassy seal and turns into a horrifying combination of them both in The Amazing Spider-Mandre. Until next time, keep on digging. Let's open up the old mailbag, shall we? At Marcus Starshine asks, when is Matter Eater Lad finally gonna get a CW show? Thank you, Marcus! I've been wondering this myself. Someone's daring to ask the real questions around here. Now, Matter Eater Lad, for those of you who don't know, is a member of the Legion of Superheroes, and he can eat any form of matter. Fences, ray guns, whatever. He's the kind of guy that is long overdue for TV megastardom. And there have been plenty of Easter eggs related to the Legion of Superheroes so far in the DC TV universe, so I can only imagine they're saving him until Arrow elects its 17th and final mayor next season. But tell me, what obscure DC character do you think deserves a TV show? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next time.